Okay, welcome to malware. We're going to talk about different types of malware today. It's a rather interesting topic, and we used to call malware like under the umbrella term of viruses, but malware is so much more now. It's not. It doesn't just infect things. It does a whole lot more. So we're going to be going through all of that today. Let's start with what is malware? Good question. Malware is malicious software. It's any software that's designed to do damage, to bring your system down, to slow your system, or to do something that's not great, nothing bad. That's the idea behind it. It's designed to damage, disrupt, and gain unauthorized access to system. And that's essentially what it's designed for. The purpose is data theft. The bad actors out there, they want your data. So they'll use malware to get access into your system, unauthorized access, and then just steal information. Surveillance, they want to spy on you. They want to see what you've got in your system, and they want to see what you're doing. They want to see what passwords you're typing. System disruption, they want to shut you down. They want to make your systems slower. Maybe it's a competitor, and they want to get a market edge over you. Maybe it's another country who's fighting your country, and they'll use malware to shut your defense systems down. Um, you know, could be financial greed. They're going to shut your system down with some sort of ransomware and say to you, look, if you want to open this, you have to pay us some money. So they're the main motivations and purpose. So what are the categories? Well, and we'll be going through each one of these. There's viruses. Think of viruses pretty much like a human virus. Um, worms. Worms are different than viruses. There's a subtle difference. Trojans. Trojans is more of the way that it transports the other malware, like worms and viruses. Ransomware, spyware, adware. A really horrible one is rootkit. If your system has a rootkit, it is really hard to recover from that. Keyloggers, not so much bad for your system. They can just extract information from you as you type things, right? Which is bad because they can find things like passwords. But more on that a little bit later. And fileless malware. So there's not even evidence of the malware actually being on your hard drive. It's pretty scary. So let's look at viruses. And I've just noticed that my head's in the way there, so I'll just move me over here. Definition. So what's a virus? It's a malicious code that attaches to clean viruses and spreads. However, it needs the user, it needs like someone like you and me to do something to the file, to the whatever it is, the image or the video or the Word document. But we have to double click it. We have to interact with it. We have to run it. Otherwise, it doesn't really do much. It just sits there, just waiting. But it can do a lot of damage and corrupt and delete data. So, as an example, you might download an image from somewhere, a place where you shouldn't be, and that will download the virus within that image. You double click the image to look at it, and that image will then deploy the payload, will deploy the payload, which is the virus, and that'll delete the data, corrupt it, do other kind of damage. An example of this is the Michelangelo virus, and I've got a link here if you want to just look at that, or if you have access to this PowerPoint presentation, you can click on this one to have a look at this, an example of a virus. Now, there's a subtle difference here. The worm does something similar to the virus, but here's the key. It doesn't need anyone or anything to run it. You download it from an email or from a USB or from a website somewhere. As soon as it hits your system, it just runs. It doesn't need anyone to activate it. It's like it just hits the ground running and it replicates itself. And basically consumes bandwidth, slows it down the networks, and may install backdoors. Now, what backdoors are ways for the bad actor who sent you the malware in the first place, the worm in the first place, a secret way to enter your computer. So, and which we don't even know about. It's a little bit of a way for them to secretly access your system. And that's an example. The WannaCry which is also a ransomware, by the way. You can find more information about that from Cloudflare's website right there. Trojan. So any of those people who are into their ancient Greek stories, the story about Troy, it's an old Homer classic. The Iliad, basically, or actually is the Iliad, and then there's the one after, which is Odysseus. There's two stories talked about the Trojan War, and basically the Trojans were fighting the Greeks, and the Greeks they just had enough. So they thought, well, why don't we put some soldiers in a horse, a big, huge wooden horse, not a real horse, obviously, a big wooden horse, and give it to them, the Trojans, as a gift. The Trojans thought, well, this is great, we won the war, we'll accept the gift, and we'll let the Greeks go. So that's a pretty cool gift. Unfortunately for them, for the Trojans, um, there were Greeks inside there, and then they came out, opened the doors, and then the other Greek army came in and sacked Troy. Unfortunately for the Trojans. And with the virus, with malware, it works exactly the same. You will get an application or a program, and a lot of times these are useful apps. They're really good apps. It could be games, or they could be some sort of script that gives you some benefit. But unfortunately for us, there is a worm inside, or there's ransomware, or there is a virus of some type. So we think it's something, we download it, we run it, and it's something bad inside. Ransomware. This is the one that's hurting a lot of businesses right now. It's causing a lot of damage right now. Basically, you open up an email, and the email, said, you won $1 million, or something like that, right? Or there's a sale on. The people who are crafting these emails are saying to you, open this email and something good's going to happen for you, or something bad's going to. So we can't help it as people. We have to double click it. We have to open it. And then what happens is the application runs and it locks our system down. And it encrypts our drive. The only way that we can unencrypt the hard drive is to pay them money. $600 is actually not a lot of money. Sometimes it's millions of dollars. It's always in some sort of cryptocurrency as well, so that we can't trace them. And there's a couple of examples here. There's CryptoLocker and Revel, but this one is causing a lot of damage to large organizations. It's $1 billion, billions of dollars actually, of losses for big companies. And pretty much the only way you can recover from this is either pay them the money or have a really good backup solution. So that means that you can cut your losses, you'll lose a little bit of data, but you can retrieve and back up your other data that you have, hopefully, and then recover from that. But it is something that really, honestly, if you're not prepared for this, you're in a world of pain. So that's so damaging. Spyware and keylogs, they're not bad they don't really do damage, or they don't. But spyware actually sees what you're doing, which links you're going to, what are you watching, who are you emailing, what IP addresses are coming and going. They can be used to steal your credentials and financial information. Keyloggers are a little bit more interesting. They actually record the keystrokes every time you type something. The keyboard is the keylogger is recording those keyboard strokes. So if you go to, say, Facebook, and you put your username and password in those areas, the keyboard's recording that. So it's used for a credential theft. And so what bad actors would do then is they will try to use your same password for somewhere else. So if you're at home and you're putting it into Facebook or to Netflix, whatever it is, they will hope that you're using the same password for your business email. So if you're working, say you're working at one of these really big government agencies, a defense force agency, you're using your passwords for Netflix. That's why they recommend to us, don't use the same passwords. This is why, because if we're using for Netflix, if we lose our Netflix account, the worst thing that can happen is someone gets to watch our Netflix videos. But if we've got that password linked to a business or an organization that heavily relies on privacy, well, all businesses should, then using a keylogger, the bad actors, the bad guys, the hackers, will be able to use your credentials, and they call it credential harvesting or credential stuffing. Is another thing they do, and they will use those same credentials to log into your business the business or the organization you're working for. Pretty dangerous. And dark hotel is an example of that. You can click on that if you'd like to have a look further. Adware and fireless malware. Adware is annoying more than anything, but it can track your user browsing behavior. So the other one, fireless malware, is interesting. Um, it's really amazing what programmers and computer scientists and hackers, bad actors out there, the really clever people, they can create viruses that don't even need to be um, installed on a hard drive. You can go to the website, and from the website you download the malware, but straight to your RAM, not on your hard drive, and it runs, and then it does its job, and then you can't detect it. There's some ways of detecting it, but it's really difficult to detect, and it's really clever, but it's difficult to create. Rootkits is the one that it's very difficult to recover from. Um, if you have a rootkit, what it really comes down to is that you have your operating system, you have the kernel, which gives you the operating system, and it gives your programs through the operating system a way to access your hard drive, your hardware, your RAM, your CPU. If some malware can go past the security of the operating system and get um, through to the kernel, then you can't delete it. You can't use your operating system because it's on a layer below your operating system, and you need specialized tools to overcome this. It is really tricky. Even if you reinstall your operating system, it's still there. It can still be there somewhere. Again, really difficult to create and to deploy, but very powerful and effective. And you could go for months, maybe years, without even knowing that you've got this. It's very hard to detect. Your anti-malware solutions, your endpoint device and response, your really sophisticated AI, all the new tools out there won't be able to detect it because they're running on a operating system level, and this operates below the operating system. Really dangerous. So, summary. Malware types vary in delivery, impact, and stealth. All pose risks to your data and system. Use anti. Let me just move my head to the other direction. And all pose a risk to your data and systems. Best practice: use antivirus and anti-malware where you can, of course, always. Update your software, because I know it's really annoying. They say, "Did you update your software? Did you update your software? Did you update your software?" The reason why is a lot of the vendors like Microsoft and Adobe and all these big companies are always researching and always looking to see if they've got vulnerabilities in software, and they'll always find a vulnerability. So what they'll do is they'll fix it. So Microsoft spends billions of dollars fixing their own software and saying, "Okay, look, just update the software, please, for your benefit," and that's why we need to update it. Practice, yeah, safe browsing. Don't go to download things illegally. Don't go to bad websites. Um, Keep away from the darknet unless you're a researcher or you work or it's your part of your occupation. There's nothing there for those who are not in the field, apart from pain and misery. Educate users. Education is the one that I'm the biggest fan of, because people will click on emails, they will download things from websites because they just simply don't know. And these are doctors, lawyers, engineers. They're brilliant. They're amazing. They got the best scores in Year 12. They've worked 10, 12 years, 13 years to get to where they are. But they're not cybersecurity experts. You and I are. We're the experts here, but they're not. So our job is to tell them. Our job is to go to the doctor and say, "Look, hey doc, I know it's tempting to click on that new and brand new medical research that they've come out, you know, that will solve everything from cancer to whatever. But don't click on that link. That's bad for you. That's our job to tell doctors this. An engineer or member of parliament, whatever the job, whatever the occupation of the person is, our job is to tell them not to click on links and to do the right things. And this is where education is so important. We need to tell them that the bad actors out there are amazing social engineers. They use psychological tools. They understand the human mind, the human emotions, the way that humans react. They understand human needs, the need for to be included, the need to have instant gratification, the need to if there's not enough of something, I need to get this now. So they build these ways of enticing you to download and to go into these websites and download the emails. Your job is first of all is to be aware of this, and that's why you're here watching this video, which is a really good step. But now you have to go and tell everyone out there. So hopefully you found that this session has been beneficial, and I'm looking forward to seeing you into the next episode. Now, the next one of the next videos I'll be creating is I'm going to show you how to set up a virtual environment, download a free anti-malware, run it. We're going to get a pretend virus, not a real one, but it acts like a real one, and we're going to see if our system is clever enough to quarantine it. So just make sure that you're subscribing, or you've got your you've got all the playlists bookmarked or somewhere, and watch that, because that's a really good first step in understanding anti-malware, and of course we're not going to use real malware. We're just going to use a malware that's pretend, and you can do that. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.